Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dr. G's podcast. Today, we're going to be looking at what's been happening in the United States with the election of a new mayor in New York. Zohran Mamdani was elected as the new mayor of New York, making it a historic victory for that city. He will be the first Asian slash African Muslim mayor of New York.
The sun may have set over our city this evening, but as Eugene Debs once said, I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity. For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it. The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. I wish Andrew Cuomo only the best in private life. But let tonight be the final time I utter his name as we turn the page on a politics that abandons the many and answers only to the few. New York, tonight you have delivered a mandate for change, a mandate for a new kind of politics, a mandate for a city we can afford, and a mandate for a government that delivers exactly that. On January 1st, I will be sworn in as the mayor of New York City.
This has really angered a lot of people, media. They hauled all sorts of names at him, racism, Islamophobia, and all whatnot, but he defeated it all of them. So Zohran Mamdani ran against the likes of Andrew Cuomo, who failed to clinch the Democratic nomination, so he became an independent candidate that ran against Zohran Mamdani alongside a Republican candidate. But there is a great lesson to be derived from Mamdani's win. Mamdani did not just win as a mayoral candidate of New York, but he won a lot of things. Number one, he won against the Zionist billionaires who spent over 20 million to make sure that he didn't win, but yet he defeated them all. This tells us that when people say enough is enough, when people come out and unite, irrespective of their backgrounds, their religion, or whatnot, all the fault lines in our society, when people reject all those fault lines and unite in one voice to say this is what we want, it can be achieved. It means that there's power in the unity of people. If we don't allow ourselves to be divided across party lines, religious lines, tribal lines, ethnic lines, and unite, this is what we get. Result. Resounding result. And that's what Mamdani got. He was elected the mayor of New York. The other lesson that can be derived from the win of Zohran Mamdani is that the message of hope can win over and against the message of fear. His message was that of bringing hope to New Yorkers, affordability, free bus rides, free childcare, So this is a message of hope. A lot of people in New York, which is one of the most expensive cities in the world, are living under crushing affordability crisis. But this young man brought them the message of hope that we can do better. He told them, I can see you. I know you're suffering. He went out there and met with them and interacted with them, which the establishment folks like Cuomo could not do. So the message of hope triumphs and can win. You know, we all remember how Donald Trump ran during his presidential campaign. He used the message of fear, division, to win that election. He made all sorts of racist comments, Islamophobic comments, misogynistic comments. Contrast that to the message of hope that Mamdani brought. Message that lifted people, message that told people that I see you. He went there to the streets to meet with the New Yorkers who were surviving, who couldn't afford rent, who couldn't afford groceries. That's why he won. The message of hope against the message of fear. Mamdani won against racism and Islamophobia. The media in the United States is a huge problem. It's gross, to say the least. They hold all sorts of things against him. I saw an interview where one was even questioning his competence, asking him a question, whether he has actually run a business to qualify him to lead a city like New York. And of course, Zohran Mamdani, being a very smart guy, shut that media personnel down. Zohran Mamdani probably even won from the first debate when the dumb question that these people usually ask, where will you visit, if you're elected mayor? While they're
Left to right, Ms. Adams.
First visit, I would visit the Holy Land.
Mr. Cuomo.
Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism that has been shown in New York, I would go to Israel.
Mr. Tilson, where would you go?
Yeah, I'd make my fourth trip to Israel, followed by my fifth trip to Ukraine, two of our greatest allies fighting on the front lines of the global war on terror.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
Not
as a Jewish state?
No,
as a state with equal rights.
He won't
Not as a
say it
Jewish
has
state.
a right to exist as a Jewish state. Be very
And
clear
his
on
answer
that.
was no, he won't visit Israel.
other candidates were, tripping over themselves to announce their loyalty to Israel. Mamdani said he's going to stay in New York and focus on the concerns of the 5 boroughs of New York and to address the concerns of the people. Actually, I don't know why the media in the United States is run by dumb souls. How can you ask a mayor of a city about his allegiance or his loyalty to Israel? He's not running for mayor of Tel Aviv. He's not the foreign secretary of the United States. What business has he got with traveling to Israel? Again, this is obviously Zionist media that is controlled by all the Zionists that are loyal to Israel and donating and supporting the nonsense that is happening in the United States. So I came across this post when Zohran Mamdani won in New York, and they portrayed him as a communist, that a communist has won. Ignorance stokes fear. Now, there is a clear difference between being a communist and a democratic socialist. There are so many countries around the world that practice democratic socialism, and their quality of life is better than the quality of life of many Americans. Now, just to educate the public so that people do not fall into the trap of ignorance and fear, what is communism? So the core idea of communism is a classless society where all property and means of production are owned collectively. There's no private ownership of businesses, land, or capital. That is communism. The economic structure of communism is as follows. The state controls production and distribution. Ideally, goods are distributed according to need. In practice, communist states like the former Soviet Union, Maoist China, had centralized one-party governments that planned the economy and restricted political freedoms. Will that be the case in New York? Absolutely not. So the media in America is deliberately misinforming its citizens, and this is not acceptable. The political system in communism is typically authoritarian. It's a one-party rule in real-world examples, and the state claims to represent the working class but often limits democracy and dissent. So the goal of communism is to eventually achieve a classless society. So in general, communism has one-party system and everything is controlled by the government. Production and distribution is controlled by the government. It's usually authoritarian in nature and crushes dissent. That is communism. Can that be practiced in New York or in the United States? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What is democratic socialism? So the core idea of democratic socialism is that it is a system that combines democratic governance with strong social ownership or regulation. Democratic governance, underline that. And that's what Zohran Mamdani said he is, a democratic socialist. So it's a system that combines democratic governance with strong social ownership or regulation of major industries, aiming to reduce inequality while maintaining political freedoms. Did you get that? Democratic socialism is not communism. So don't be deceived by the misinforming media in the United States. So the core idea, I repeat again, is that it combines democratic governance with strong social ownership or regulation of major industries, aiming to reduce inequality while maintaining political freedoms. Did you get that? So the economic structure of democratic socialism is that some industries like healthcare, energy, or transportation may be publicly owned or heavily regulated. So it is natural for a lot of public services like transportation and energy to be owned by the government or heavily regulated under democratic socialism, which is around the world, and there are so many examples, even in Canada here where I live. Under democratic socialism, private enterprise still exists, but operates within social welfare frameworks. Wealth is redistributed through progressive taxation and social programs. That's democratic socialism. Wealth is redistributed through progressive taxation and social programs. So you can see that the media is deliberately misinforming and stoking fear in people because of the policies that Zohran Mamdani says he will implement. It has nothing to do with communism. Democratic socialism is not communism. The political system of democratic socialism, fully democratic. Elections are held, multiple political parties, free press, and protection of civil liberties. That's democratic socialism. The goal is to create a fairer economy and democratic framework, not to abolish private property or the state. Did you get that? I repeat. The goal of democratic socialism is to create a fairer economy and society within a democratic framework, not to abolish private property or the state. So that's democratic socialism for those who do not understand what Zohran Mamdani represents. He does not represent anything close to communism. Communism is a completely different system than what Zohran Mamdani represents. And there are countries around the world that practice democratic socialism. So countries like Sweden is a capitalist democracy with robust welfare programs, high taxes, and a strong labor movement, often led by Social Democratic Party. So Sweden has democratic socialism. Norway, a democratic state that owns major oil and gas and energy sectors, redistributing profits to fund public services. Denmark, market-based economy with universal health care, free higher education, and powerful unions. That's Denmark. These are countries that practice some levels of democratic socialism, and their quality of living is far better than the quality of living of over 40 million Americans. Finland, strong social safety net, publicly funded education and welfare, and democratic governance. Portugal, socialists and social democrats have governed often. The state plays a strong role in social welfare. New Zealand, while capitalist, it incorporates social democratic policies such as universal healthcare and progressive labor laws. These countries combine free elections, private enterprise, and civil liberties with strong social welfare systems and government involvement. In key areas, the essence of democratic socialism or social democracy. So, as you can have heard, communism is authoritarian in nature. Communism practices one type of just one party structure. Communism has, everything belongs to the government, both production and redistribution. Everything is centrally planned. It's a classless society. But in contrast, democratic socialism has a mix of both public and private. It's democratic and pluralistic. It has regulated market economy and reduced inequality with democracy intact. So essentially, what democratic socialism tends to do is that it inculcates fair taxation and redistribution of wealth and protection of civil liberties and funds certain public sectors like healthcare, transportation, energy, and different welfare packages that the society needs. And that's what Zohran Mamdani says it represents. So I hope that you have come to realize that the media in the United States is stoking fear based on the ignorance of people. And that's unfortunate. So anytime you hear somebody say communism or democratic socialism, know the difference. They are pretty different. I am trying to build this podcast to reach 10,000 followers by the end of this year. So please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, engage, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. See you in the next video. Thank you and bye-bye.